we are living in times that feel increasingly heavy. Across the globe, there has been a significant decline in collective mental health. We see it in the news, we feel it in our communities, and perhaps you have felt it in your own quiet moments at home. This shift is exactly why we here at Happy Aura are so deeply committed to creating more content than we ever have before. We want to be a lighthouse in the fog, a place where you can come to find clarity, validation, and a gentle path forward. Thank you truly for being a part of our journey. Your presence here means the world to us. Today, I want to talk about something that sits at the very heart of our emotional well-being, yet it is often one of the most misunderstood concepts in psychology. I want to ask you a question, and I want you to answer it honestly in the privacy of your own mind. Do you know what it truly means to have a trauma bond with someone? When I ask this, most people pause. They nod and say, "Yes, Jenny, of course. It means bonding with someone over a shared trauma, like two people who survived a difficult event together and are now close because of it." If that was your answer, please do not judge yourself, because that is the most common assumption. However, it is also incorrect. In the realm of psychology and emotional health, a trauma bond is not a connection forged by shared pain. Rather, it is a defining characteristic of many toxic and abusive relationships. It is the invisible chain that keeps a kind, empathetic person tethered to someone who hurts them. It is often the main reason why we might find ourselves unable to leave a relationship, even when our logical mind knows that staying is destroying us. A trauma bond refers to a deep, intense emotional attachment that one feels toward their abuser. It is a biological and hormonal addiction to a cycle of pain and relief. It is significantly more likely to develop in those who have a history of abuse, exploitation, or emotional codependency in their past relationships, particularly in childhood. When we are trauma bonded, the chemistry in our brains can easily trick us. These bonds can be mistaken for intense feelings of love, passion, and unwavering commitment toward another person. We confuse the intensity of the pain with the intensity of love. So, with that context established, I want to guide you through 8 specific signs to look out for. These are the markers that tell you if what you are experiencing is not actually love, but a trauma bond. If you recognize yourself in these descriptions, please listen with self-compassion, not self-judgment. The first sign is that the other person is outwardly charming. This is the trap that catches so many of us. Of course, if we were given the choice, no one would willingly choose to pursue a relationship with someone who acts abusive toward them right from the start. If someone showed up on the first date and insulted you or tried to control you, you would walk away immediately. The problem, however, is that toxic relationships do not start out that way. In fact, they often start out as a fairy tale. This phase is sometimes called love bombing. The person might seem like everything you have ever wanted. They are charismatic, attentive, and seemingly vulnerable. And it is usually only when you have already experienced the abuse later on that you start to realize something is fundamentally wrong. You might develop a trauma bond with someone if they are outwardly charming, sweet, caring, and seem trustworthy to you in public or during the good times. But do not be fooled. There might be something more sinister lurking beneath it all. This charm is a tool. It is designed to lower your defenses so that when the mask slips, you are already too invested to leave. The second sign is that they are emotionally unpredictable. You might be asking yourself, "Jenny, why don't people just leave these relationships once they realize that it is unhealthy for them?" It seems like a logical question. But the trouble is, it is a lot harder to spot trauma bonding when it is up close and personal compared to if you just saw it happening to someone else. When you are in the eye of the storm, you cannot see the whole picture. This difficulty exists because abusive partners can often be emotionally manipulative, too. They do not abuse you 100% of the time. If they did, it would be easier to leave. Instead, they use a psychological tactic known as intermittent reinforcement. They might abuse you, devalue you, and make you feel small, only to shower you with kindness, tearful apologies, and grand promises to change the next day. This serves as positive reinforcement to make you second-guess any thoughts you might have of leaving them. You start to live for those moments of kindness. You start to believe that the nice version of them is the real them, and the abusive version is just a mistake. This unpredictability keeps your nervous system on high alert, always waiting for the other shoe to drop or for the sun to come out again. The third sign is that they tend to take their problems out on you. I want you to take a moment and think back to the last time this partner, friend, or family member heard some bad news or encountered a problem at work or in their personal life. How do they usually deal with it? Do they process it like a mature adult, or do they often lash out? In a trauma bond, you become the vessel for their negative emotions. Do they take it out on you, even when you have done absolutely nothing wrong? Perhaps they had a bad day at the office, and suddenly the dinner you cooked is terrible, or the way you are breathing is annoying. They could be keeping you around as their psychological punching bag. This is a form of displacement. They cannot control the world, so they control and hurt you to feel powerful again. Please hear me when I say this. You deserve better than that. You are not a dumping ground for someone else's unresolved anger. The fourth sign is that they isolate you from your loved ones. This is one of the most dangerous signs because it happens so slowly that you often do not notice it until you are completely alone. Some people might think it is sweet to have someone who wants them all to themselves. In the beginning, it can feel flattering. It feels like they are so obsessed with you that they just cannot bear to share you. They might get jealous of those you spend your time with, and you might mistake this jealousy for passion. But there is a massive difference between loving someone so much you want them around all the time and actively working to isolate them from the other important relationships in their lives. Does this person get mad at you for spending time with anyone who isn't them? Do they make snide comments about your best friend? Do they guilt-trip you when you visit your parents? Do they try to control who you are with or ask you to distance yourself from your friends and family? If the answer is yes, then that is as clear a red flag as any. Isolation is a strategy. If you have no one to reflect reality back to you, the abuser becomes your only source of reality. And that is exactly where they want you. The fifth sign is that you deny or minimize their abusive behavior. Now, let us look inward. Let us look at all the ways the trauma bond might affect you and your behavior. Oftentimes, the most telling sign that you are in a destructive relationship is not just what they do, but how you react to it. If you find yourself constantly trying to deny or minimize the other person's wrongdoings, you are likely in a trauma bond. We look past all their mistreatment toward us. We minimize the abuse by saying things to ourselves like, "Oh, it is not that bad really," or "They didn't mean it," or "I don't mind it, I have thick skin." We do this because, in the moment, it is easier for us to just brush it off instead of confronting what might be a terrible, harsh reality. That the person you are with, the person you love, is abusing you. Admitting that is devastating. It shatters your world. So, to keep your world intact, you shrink the abuse down until it seems manageable. But minimizing the pain does not make it disappear. It just buries it deep inside your body. The sixth sign is that you constantly make excuses for them. This goes hand in hand with minimizing, but it often involves how you present the relationship to the outside world. The moment you can no longer deny or minimize what the other person has done, perhaps because it happened in public or left a mark, you switch to defense mode. If a family member or friend says something like, "What they did to you is not okay," or "Don't let them treat you like that," pay attention to your immediate reaction. Are you listening to them? Or are you still most likely going to try to make excuses for the abuser and come to their defense? You might say things like, "You don't understand, they are under a lot of stress at work," or "They had a difficult childhood," or "They are trying to get better." At times, you might even find yourself feeling like you deserve their mistreatment, thinking, "I shouldn't have provoked them." Once you start thinking like this, that is a critical sign that you are in a trauma bond and not a loving relationship. In a healthy relationship, your partner protects you. In a trauma bond, you protect your partner from the consequences of their own actions. The seventh sign is that you are becoming more and more emotionally numb. Have you noticed yourself feeling less and less lately? I am not talking about sadness necessarily, but a lack of feeling altogether. Like you are detached, floating above your body, or emotionally numb. You might watch a sad movie and feel nothing. You might achieve a big goal and feel no joy. You might be feeling this way because, subconsciously, it is your mind's way of coping with all of the abuse that it has had to deal with from the person you are trauma bonded to. The human spirit can only handle so much volatility. You cannot take any more pain, fear, anger, or heartache. So instead of feeling the constant crushing weight of those emotions, you close yourself off from all of your emotions. It is a survival mechanism called dissociation. You are not as vibrant, talkative, or expressive as you used to be. You have become a gray version of yourself. And they, the person you are bonded to, are the reason why. You have dimmed your light to avoid attracting their fire. The eighth and final sign we will discuss today is that you are hiding aspects of the relationship from others. Finally, but perhaps most importantly, look at the secrets you keep. If you start to hide certain aspects of your relationship from those around you, then you know that there is definitely something wrong. Why else would you actively try to cover up how bad things are getting between you two? You might tell your friends about the flowers they bought you, but leave out the part where they screamed at you for an hour beforehand. You might post a happy photo on social media while wiping away tears. Loyalty toward an abusive significant other is a hallmark of trauma bonding. You feel a fierce need to protect their reputation. So, you might find yourself becoming defensive or even angered by other people's attempts to intervene in your relationship and help you. You push away the people who are trying to throw you a life raft because you are terrified of rocking the boat. Now, I want to pause here. I want you to check in with your body again. How are you feeling after hearing these 8 signs? Does your chest feel tight? Do you feel a lump in your throat? Or do you perhaps feel a sense of relief, realizing that there is a name for what you have been experiencing? Do you relate to any of the things we have mentioned here? It is incredibly heavy to realize that what you thought was love might actually be a biological addiction to a toxic cycle. But I want to remind you of something very important. Realization is the first step toward freedom. You cannot heal what you do not acknowledge. If you or anyone you know is trapped in a trauma bond with someone abusive, please know that you are not alone and you are not broken. You have simply been conditioned to survive. But survival is not the same as living. Don't hesitate to speak out and seek professional help today. Breaking a trauma bond is very similar to breaking an addiction to a substance. Withdrawal is painful, and doing it alone is incredibly difficult. You need support. You need a therapist, a support group, or a trusted friend who understands the dynamics of abuse. And if you need to, please get in touch with authorities who can help you, too. Your safety is the priority. There is no relationship on this earth that is worth your mental health, your physical safety, or your soul. I hope you found this discussion valuable. It is a difficult topic, but facing it is an act of profound bravery. Did this resonate with you? Tell us in the comments below. We read them and we care about your stories. Please like this content and share it with friends that might find use in this video, too. You never know who is suffering in silence, and sharing this might just be the sign they have been waiting for. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell for more content that prioritizes your well-being and growth. We are here for you, every step of the way. All the references used to create this content are added in the description box below for your further reading. Take care of yourself, my dear friends. Be gentle with your heart. You are worthy of a love that is safe, consistent, and kind. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.